I'm Matt Logan, the host of This Matters in Real Life.
Sorry. I'm sorry. We thought you were someone else.
During the recording of the following podcast, no Democrats, Republicans, actors, chemists, dogs, cats, well, you get the idea, were harmed. However, it has been said some have been offended by the opinions seen and heard here. Oh, and please remember to pull clips out of context. Teachers strike for the kids?
Yep.
This is a tough one for me. Before I introduce you, let me say this. I think that teachers should be paid a lot of money, and I mean like almost an ungodly amount of money, with this accountability that is also ungodly. Mm-hmm. So yes. I think that should go hand in hand. The responsibility to really do what they need to do and the pay to support that. But no indoctrination of any kind, I mean, we'll talk about that. But I think they do need to get paid an awful lot of money, and they also have to be held extremely accountable. Who's with me today? Wait.
What side are you going on?
Who goes first?
Who's on first?
I know. I was just thinking about Abbott and Costello.
Costello.
So we might as well
You're
then.
first.
I mean, the first thing that comes to
first.
mind when you say Abbott and Costello is clearly not Craig.
Craig Ugland.
My word. Dramatic Naomi Saylor.
Self-proclaimed?
That's right.
Or
That's right.
Okay. All right.
Who's on second, though? She didn't get that. Nothing.
I love it. Look, there's Minneapolis Teachers Union that is in the news nationally, and I think it's important that we talk about it because, you know, this affects a lot of people, and it affects a lot of young people, which is who we are supposed to look after and protect, in my opinion. So let's ride. Hey, everybody, just really quick, if you haven't done so yet, go ahead and hammer the like button. Okay, thanks a lot. We appreciate it. Now back to the show.
Well, this article I'm looking at talks about Minneapolis, that teachers in Minneapolis say they've noticed more kids with anxiety and depression.
You got to be kidding me. That must be a fake news article, isn't it?
No.
How could that be after 2 years of masking and distance learning and no socialization? And I just don't know why the kids would be suffering over the last couple of years. It doesn't make any sense.
Says kids are telling their parents that they're frustrated.
I bet they are.
Because the learning stops when teachers have to deal with disruptive students in class.
Which has been going on since the beginning of education.
Right. So is the answer to quit and strike and then, you know?
My thought would be if kids are being disruptive, to remove them from the situation and deal with them outside of the classroom so that the other kids can continue to learn. But I'm not a teacher.
Mm-hmm.
We're in a place, though, that personal responsibility and accountability. So there's, what do they like to say? There's natural consequence and what's the other term? I lost it.
Yeah, I can't think of what.
So there's natural consequence, and there is, help me out.
I got nothing. Indoctrinated.
Intended consequence. I don't remember how it goes, but there's a natural consequence. So in other words, if you're driving your car on a icy road and you're going, first off, don't do that. But if you're going to do that and you're going, exactly, if you're going too fast, you're going to have an issue. You're probably going to crash. You could hurt somebody and yourself. So that's a natural consequence of an action. So, like, I don't know, there's another term, and for some reason it escapes me, but there's going to be so many places that aren't going to have a natural consequence, and so we have to then have an intended consequence, and again, I might be saying that wrong, but we need to intentionally, like you say, pull aside or have that consequence for the wrong kind of things that are happening.
Yeah.
That structure. that responsibility.
Right.
And it's tough. The teachers are asking for more money. And I've got a good friend that is an immigrant from Europe. And so he has a different perspective on our education system. And he's like, it's unbelievable how much money is thrown at our education system and the results or lack of results in our education system.
Yeah.
And it's always throw more money at it and it'll solve it. Well, that's obviously not working. So what's the solution? Is it holding the teachers personally accountable? Is it holding God forbid you hold the students personally accountable? If a student's being bad, remove them from class. I'm sorry. If you strike, and it's happened in our Rochester Public Schools, if you strike a teacher, you're done. If you strike a teacher at your school,
Got to be tolerant, Craig.
there's no reason a student should
my
strike a
opinion
teacher.
on tolerance.
Right.
I say that.
If you hit a teacher, you go to the Alternative Learning Center. If you do it there, you go to Phoenix. If you do it there, you're going to Red Wing. You're going to the juvie hall. There's no reason a student should ever strike a teacher.
Yeah.
There could be, but this teacher should also be fired for something that would cause that. But
maybe go to jail as well.
right, but there's no reason that a student should ever be acting out like that in class. And I understand that, kids' home lives are not always ideal. Completely understand that, but that doesn't justify a student striking out at a teacher or another student. And fights happen in the back ditch behind school. And unfortunately, sometimes kids are kids. But it's just people need to be held accountable. Teachers, administrators, students. That's my opinion.
So they're asking for more pay. Is that correct?
Yes.
That's one of the things.
Okay.
I was looking for the list, and
Yep.
it's hard to find the list, I guess.
I did see in here.
do you
there's
have it?
Not really the list, but some comments. 4,500 educators and support staff. They're on strike. Basically, they're saying there's been the mental health problems because of the pandemic.
Which is real.
Yes, and then some of the trauma of
That's a natural consequence of
Yeah.
what they did with shutting schools down,
Distance learning
So
and-
sorry.
Yep. No, it's fine. And then some of the trauma of what happened up in Minneapolis with, it says George Floyd's killing. So some of the things that they experienced that, maybe locally or however, I don't live up there. I had friends that do have homes right downtown where that was happening. So it wasn't the easiest to go through. This other person said that these kids have been through hell. Some of it is this the word you're thinking? Self-inflicted?
That's
Maybe?
part of it for sure, yeah.
And
But
so
the self-inflicted also has to have a consequence then.
right.
Yeah.
So were these kids put through hell because of the decisions and policies created for the teachers, what the teachers were expected to police in the classroom? You were talking about just the behavior and stuff, but also what were they expected to wear to come to school? Not to be able to be friendly to their fellow classmates. They're supposed to stay away from everyone.
Right.
I mean, even locally, it's very disturbing, but locally at RPS, you go to the main Edison building and on the floor, I have picture proof of it. There is on the tile, it shows how to social distance from each other. And it makes a little cartoon angry face, like scared face to stay apart. It's like you're showing a child or a parent or anyone to be afraid of other humans. So some of the stuff where the teachers now are finally fed up with what they've had to be put through or how they had to change how they educate a child, they finally are raising a voice. Maybe it is a good thing that they're striking and protesting, but I don't know the ins and outs of all of it, of course. I'm just saying they're saying something now, but I thought we just got into where all these restrictions were lifted. and isn't
my
that what they
understanding.
want?
That's part of the list too, though.
Okay.
Those restrictions, that they want to keep some of those restrictions in place.
That in place. Okay.
Yep.
I guess I should have read that list.
I don't know that it's in this particular article. There's a lot of things.
Yeah.
But it's definitely one of the things that they were talking about. They want, here's one of the things that I saw: more mental health supporters, affordable quality health care. Well, we definitely all want that. And it kind of goes on, but it's a little bit interesting because some of the things in the interviews that were done, they talk about how they want to have, the kids still wear the face masks, and because the teachers are scared of their health and they're going to die. And then you see the pictures with them picketing, and there's a lot of maskless people.
So, yeah, why is it safe outside and then it's not in a room?
Yeah, so it's very confusing is the
Confusing
point
message.
because there definitely seems to be some sort of underlying narrative when you see the different interviews, and so it's confusing. It's hard to ask the questions then, right?
My question would be is who decides their fate? Who decides the level of pay that a specific teacher or area of expertise, because we know there's special education teachers, there's the school counselors, social workers, different subjects. There's, Phy-Ed teachers, hopefully home ec teachers if we're still cooking.
We need
food.
to. A lot of them aren't.
I took that class.
Yeah, it's good.
Some of the funnest
like
parts of that class is if somebody accidentally starts something on fire. That things got real exciting. You don't forget that stuff.
No.
But I think that they need to get paid a great wage and feel good about that. And a lot of teachers that I've been in contact with, they really don't care about the money. They just want to help teach kiddos and influence them to read and write. And
there is a massive percentage of teachers that are that way. Absolutely.
Sure.
Completely agree with that. And that's why I think a strike like this really, it shines kind of a bad and dark light on them.
Yeah, it does.
Because I don't believe personally, unless you are literally being abused, that you should ever strike like this when it involves a kid.
Right.
Kids see this kind of stuff, they're now affected. Parents don't know what to say. They're sitting at home again, all those kinds of things. If you don't want to be there, protest in a different way, in my opinion, but keep up with the kids.
Well, can't they? Exactly. The protest, why can't you take this to the Minnesota Board of Education or Capitol Hill? But to leave the kids hanging, that's like, it's very tough on the kids.
They talk about, not in this article, I say they in the sense of you hear all over the place, in order for some of these things to happen, you should get like, what is it, 100,000 signatures or whatever, and then they can take it to the next step. The petition, thank you.
Yep.
And I haven't seen that here. I was looking for it last night a little bit, and I haven't seen that signed petition. So I think that when it involves kids like this, it seems like it's just a bunch of angry people that want to be angry. Well, and I'm not saying that's the case. That's the way it looks.
Right.
If you can't get enough teachers to sign a petition,
right.
I don't know.
We shouldn't be, if we're protesting, if we want to see something change or improve, a great American way is to protest. But
yeah, I don't think I think they should protest in fashion, but leave the kids out of it.
Yeah. Otherwise, is it throwing a fit? Is it having a tantrum?
Right.
And I think they want, in looking through some more of this news article, they're feeling like there's just too many kids in the classroom. And just as an educator myself, it's not the easiest thing to teach a child, or because they don't all learn the same or think the same way. We're all very unique. And so I really think that, maybe there's better way. One of my relatives, she is a teacher and she's very faithful. She's been doing teaching forever and just loves it. But she, she had some years in her life where she just backed off the full time and she would just be on call. And it's just like, maybe some of these people need to figure out, if you're getting burnt out, maybe
take a step
do
back.
part-time of teaching. And
yeah, that's a good point. They talk about here they want starting to be $35,000 a year, and that's great. Well, McDonald's is paying that.
Oh no.
I mean,
I know.
but seriously,
They are.
I'm not kidding. Like, if you're burnt out, like you say, go do something else.
Hey, I heard that a lot this last year. If you don't want to do this and this and this to keep your job, go get a different one.
Hear it all the
Where
time.
did I hear that?
Yeah. So, it is something that it's, I don't want to bash any of them. That's not what I'm trying to do, but I'm trying to understand it.
Yes.
And it's hard to understand it when it's, they're talking about all these misrepresented contract proposals and their misinformation on this whole thing. And it's like, well, I've been clicking on links and it's not real clear. Some of them are fairly clear on what their demands are, but then it's like, am I supposed to read between the lines on some of it? Because it's just a whole bunch of words put together that don't make much sense.
Yeah.
And so there just definitely seems to be more to this than
I
what
hear a
we
lot
see.
Oops, I started too soon there, excuse me.
No.
I hear a lot of the talk on these articles about the disruptions in class, or, almost like an oppression has hit, and is it because of, again, the policies that have been put in place, and like everyone's going to school wondering, well, are we going to still be going next week? Is there going to be another shockwave? Are we going to be sent home again? I mean, it's a fearful place for teachers and kids. And, I've even talking to local parents, like, I don't want to get an email that says my kid has to go home for 10 days because we might have been around someone who's unhealthy. Well, whoop-de-doo. I mean, take care of yourself, sure, but
Yeah, you have a fever, you have symptoms, get better.
But the fight or flight mode
Yeah.
is where I think that this has brought these guys to this over the edge. Like, they're just done.
Yeah.
They're burned out.
They're burnt out.
2 years of pandemic. They're burned out.
I mean, we got 6 to 8 weeks till school is technically out for most districts. And are these teachers striking? Do they do summer school? Are they teaching summer school as well? I mean, so I have another relative who is her entire dream to be a teacher, and she didn't pass the test to be one, so she'll never be a teacher.
Right.
And it's like, so that's pretty strict, and that's interesting. It's maybe another topic, but
Yeah, that is interesting. I don't know where to go with it other than let's try to be transparent with it, right? And I mean, and maybe they are, and I just can't find it. I don't know, but it looks like I said, it just looks like a bunch of angry teachers. The kids are hurting. I can't see how this is helping them.
yeah.
You mentioned summer and summer school. Can they protest in the summertime? Let the kids get out of school. Those are the questions that I ask.
They must not think their voices will be heard then. Is this the time of year where they usually have spring break? Maybe they thought this was a great fit for that time or something.
Maybe that's true, yeah. But I know that they were closing schools. I mean, it said in one of them that these were, it's going to close some of the schools down.
Well, they want living wages. They want smaller class sizes. They have some good points. They want better mental health support. But,
One thing I want to say about mental health support, one of the things that I learned in a lot of and I have seen a lot of trauma right in front of me, car crash of my daughter's, that I came across while they were still trying to extract her, but even other ones before that and after that, the things that I've seen, it's pretty traumatic, and I'm not going to describe what that is, but you have a choice to take personal responsibility
Yeah.
and work through that. Now, granted, these kids, they definitely need to have someone in their corner.
Yeah.
But part of actually that mental health healing, in my opinion, is taking personal responsibility and having someone else take personal responsibility as a
Right.
as a mental health provider. The good ones that I've been to and gone to are like, you need to take personal responsibility for this. This will help your healing, things like that. So the teachers also need to have that
Yeah.
mental, not just the mental health support, but they need to go through that process, in my opinion,
Yeah.
and say
For
this
themselves
is-
or for their
for
students?
themselves.
Yep.
This is the trauma, quote unquote, that I've experienced, and then deal with that,
Yeah.
so that you can move on from it.
And they're going to love these kiddos most of the time, right? They're going to really feel responsible to take care of them personally. But at the end of the day, it's their student. They're teaching them. They're not assigned to nurture them or to teach them even morals and things like that. It might naturally occur, but that's a parent's job.
Right.
So if they can figure out in their mind and even in their heart to transfer that weight over to, okay, I'll see him tomorrow. You know, it's just almost like a job. You have to leave your job at the office,
Unfortunately,
you know?
there's, I think, a fair amount of kids that don't have that support at home.
That's
Yeah.
right.
And those are the kids that the kids falling through the cracks. And it's how can you help the teachers help those kids?
And I'm a
And I don't know if it's a mental health professional or a counselor or a mentor,
right.
but that I think is probably the biggest issue is that part right there, helping the kids that don't have that support. Because
That's
you
right.
see, it seems like most of the troublemakers or kids that are having issues don't have that support at home. So
I know, and that's so true because it's like I don't want to pretend like everybody has a parent or a guardian, right? To help them, to mold them, to, you know, love on them and nurture them and stuff to help bring balance to their character. And then it helps if you have a great character, you can learn more. You're more avid in learning and stuff typically. But it's like, you know, I don't know, some of this stuff. I've had teachers over the years, even I have teachers now, people are still teaching me, but you know, it's like there comes a point where there's lines that have to be drawn and
the boundaries
are
important,
and even the teachers and whoever are organizing administrators, when they're trying to involve themselves way too far with the students, and the kids pick up pretty easily on when an adult is too invasive into the privacy of their life, even mentally, emotional. And so maybe that's where some of these behaviors have come from, that's frustrating these teachers because they've had these policies pushed on them so hard that and the kids want to fight for themselves and advocate for, you know, themselves, and they've been browbeaten. So
it's deep.
it is.
This isn't a puddle that is a problem. It's a really deep problem, and there's no real good answer, and money is definitely not the answer. I think you need the money to survive and live for sure, but you also need that level of accountability on the teacher's part, on the student's part. And that's a tough balance. It's a tough balance.
Yeah.
So, yeah. What do you got, Craig?
I gave it to you.
All right.
It's and I support our teachers, and they have a very thankless job.
Yes, they do.
And I've got some good friends that are teachers, and it's refreshing to see that they're still passionate about it after 20 and 30 years of teaching.
Yeah.
But you can tell that they're struggling.
For sure. Yeah, we definitely need to figure out the best way to support like the good and proper behavior, I guess. I'm not saying they're being improper.
Yeah.
I just question I have a lot of questions when they say, you know, we're striking for the students when they're asking for more money and, you know, some of these other things. That's a challenge for me. And that's why I just want to, you know, hey, maybe some of you listening or watching know more about this and can send me stuff. I would love to learn. I want to learn. Look at it from all these different angles. So unless you guys have anything else,
I'm good. We'll pick it up another time, maybe.
see you next time.
Hey, I know that there's a lot of things to be critical of me for, and I accept that. I've not always made the best decisions, but I've always tried to learn. Always tried to not repeat mistakes. And hey, everybody, thanks for listening to this conversation that I just had. I was very honored to be a part of it, honored to be the host of This Matters in Real Life. I think it's extremely important to cover a lot of different things and topics and get people's opinions. When my daughter died in the car crash 10 years ago, I said that's what I would do. I would look at the answers, I would look at the truth, and I would make sure that they would intersect. They would not divorce each other. It's so often that we want answers that are not the truth. We want answers that are comfortable. We want answers that make us feel good. Well, there's a lot of things in life that is just, it's not the case. So who am I? Well, I am you. I'm no different than you are. I eat and sleep and, you know, all the different things. Same thing that you do. I hurt. I feel joy. I've had a lot of experience, probably just like you. I work hard, probably just like you. One of the things that you can do to support us is go to shinybrandmerch.com, where you'll see things like the sweatshirt that I have on. I work. I'm a full-time, a truck driver. What do I deliver? Well, I deliver trucks. It's a little bit different of a gig than a normal truck driver, yes, but I am what would be considered a commercial vehicle transport specialist. So about 5 to 6 days a week, I deliver trucks. I get into a truck, I go 2,000 miles, I deliver it to its new owner, I get on an airplane and I go find another one. Nothing real glamorous unless you make it that way. And I've decided that I would have a lot of conversations along the way, and some of those conversations I'll be able to share with you. Again, hey, thanks for your support. Appreciate you. We'll see you next time.